Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings set upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just, faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county, and of those whose interests you've committed to our church. Amen. Kindly take us through the order of the day.
Order paper number 252 of today, Wednesday, 6th November 2024 at 2:30 p.m. Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of.
Next order. Statement time. Next order.
Regarding delayed stroke incomplete disbursement on budgetary funds to the County Assembly. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, during the Assembly sitting on Thursday, 3rd September 2024, Honorable Nereo Kombo, the Deputy Speaker and MCA for Manyata B, pursuant to the provision of Kisumu County Assembly Standing Order number 41-2 A and B, raised a statement requesting the chairperson for Finance and ICT to provide a comprehensive written response regarding the incomplete or delayed transfers of the County Assembly's allocation for the previous financial year budgets as the July 2024 disbursement, despite the full received or exchequer releases for the mentioned period, and this you can check Annex 1. The statement was duly committed to my committee to conduct inquiries and report the findings and recommendations to the Honorable House. Honorable members, I'm using moving notes, and the report was shared earlier, so I hope you have it. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the offices of the Speaker and the Clerk for the invaluable support in creating an enabling environment for the successful execution of this assignment. I also commend the members of the committee who, despite their busy schedules, sacrifice their time to attend meetings and contribute meaningfully to this report. Additionally, I express my appreciation to the CECM for Finance, Economic Planning, and ICT for the timely responses and for providing detailed information as requested during our inquiries. Lastly, I thank our Secretariat for their effective coordination, technical support, and for compiling and producing this comprehensive report. It is now my distinct honor and privilege to present the report of the committee on the consideration of the delayed incomplete disbursement of the County Assembly's budgetary allocation for the previous year 2023-2024 and the current financial year 2024-2025 by the County Treasury for careful consideration and approval. Mr. Speaker, and honorable members, the committee dedicated significant time and effort towards processing this matter. It held 4 meetings where members discussed their statement, interrogated the responses, and held consultative meeting with the County Assembly Finance Department to seek further justification. Moreover, the committee communicated the queries sought in the statement to the CCM for Finance, Economic Planning, and ICT for responses through a letter, references there, dated 7th July 2024, dated Monday, 7th October 2024. And this one you can find in Annex 2. Consequently, the County Treasurer forwarded a detailed response, read a letter, reference, it is there, dated 8th October 2024. And this one you can check Annex 3. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, the County Assembly's recurrent allocation is determined by the County Allocation of Revenue Act, CARA in short, an act of parliament that provides for equitable distribution of nationally raised revenue among county governments. CARA also outlines the shareable recurrent allocation for each county assembly from the county's equitable share of national revenue. In the financial year 2023-2024, Kisumu County was allocated an equitable share of Kenya shillings 8,361,797,770 to fund its expenditures, including transfers to other counties' entities. From this amount, the County Assembly was allocated 975,311,910 to cover its recurrent operational cost and ensure timely payment of staff salaries and benefits. The County Assembly's recurrent budget was fully aligned with the ceiling set by CARA 2024 and was approved by this Honorable House through the approved county budget estimates and the Appropriation Act for the financial year 2023-2024. Accordingly, the Assembly expected to receive its full allocation by the close of the financial year, contingent on complete exchequer release to finance its recurrent expenditures. However, despite the full disbursement of the equitable share to counties by the National Treasury in August this year, the County Assembly is yet to receive Kenya shillings 57,001,950 of its recurrent allocation from the County Treasury. This shortfall has severely disrupted the Assembly's operations and undermined its physical stability. In the current financial year 2024-2025, the County Assembly was allocated a recurrent budget of Kenya shillings 1,8,619,636, translating to monthly transfers of Kenya shillings 84,051,638. Shockingly, for the month of July 2024, the County Treasury transferred only Kenya shillings 60,768,917, withholding Kenya shillings 23,282,721, despite receiving the full exchequer release from the National Treasury. This inherent illegitimate and irregular conduct by the county treasury on delayed or incomplete disbursement of the county assembly recurrent allocation forms. The basis of this statement, by extension, our inquiry. Questions sought in the statement. And this one you can refer to page 6 of the main report. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, based on the above, Honorable Nereo Kombo in the statement requested the committee to provide a detailed response on the following issues. Number 1, why the county treasury has failed to disburse Kenya shillings 57,001,950 outstanding balance for the financial year 2023-2024 to the county assembly. Number 2, why did the county treasury withhold Kenya shillings 23,282,721 allocation for the county assembly for the month of July 2024? Question number 3, when should the assembly expect to receive the total outstanding balance of Kenya shillings 80,284,671, which comprises of Kenya shillings 57,001,950 for the financial year 2023-2024 and Kenya shillings 23,282,721 for the July financial year 2024-2025 owed by county treasury. Question number 4. What measures are being put in place to ensure that future disbursements are made in full and on time as per the county assembly's budgetary requirements? And this is how the county treasury responded. Honorable Speaker, the committee addressed the question to the county treasury and were responsive to as indicated hereunder. So why the county treasury has failed to disburse Kenya shillings 57,001,950 outstanding balance for the financial year 2023-2024, the county assembly and withheld 2023 million, no, sorry, I repeat. In their response to why the county treasury has failed to disburse Kenya shillings 57,001,950 outstanding balance for the financial year 2023-2024 to the county assembly and withheld Kenya shillings 23,282,721, and this was the allocation for the month of July 2024, this financial year. And this is how they responded. The delayed transfer to the assembly during this period was occasioned by late exchequer releases, and there was no deliberate decision made by the county treasury to withhold transfer to the county assembly. Number 2, this is how they responded to when should the assembly expect to receive the total outstanding balance on Kenya shillings 80,284,671, comprising of Kenya shillings 57,001,950 for the financial year 2023-2024 and Kenya shillings 23,282,721 for July financial year 2024-2025 owed by the county treasury. And this was their response. That a transfer of, and honorable members, I ask you to be queen as you are following. That a transfer of Kenya shillings 26,802,200 to the county assembly has already been approved by the county treasury to be paid immediately upon clearance by the control of budget, that is COB. This payment accounts for the balance of Kenya shillings 23,282,721 pending transfers to the Assembly out of July 2024 equitable share disbursement from the National Treasury and Kenya shillings 3,519,479 payment of the outstanding amount carried forward from the last financial year. And from where I'm standing, the money was already received. It was already transferred to the Assembly. That going forward, the county treasurer commits itself to timely transfer to the county assemblies with every disbursement from the National Treasury and a top-up of Kenya shilling 6,333,550 every month for the next 9 months, starting October 2024, to compensate the outstanding balance of Kenya shillings 53,482,471. Number 3, the question, what measures are being put in place to ensure that future disbursements are made in full and on time as per the county assembly's budgetary requirements? This is how they responded. The county treasury submits that it will conduct monthly reconciliation of status of transfers to the county assembly, ensure full compliance to the schedule of transfers throughout the financial year. Honorable Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, this is now the observations and findings made by the committee. Number 1, there is laxity or reluctance by the county treasury towards timely and full disbursement of budgetary allocation to the county assembly. Number 2, that the county treasury owes the county assembly a total of Kenya shillings 80,284,671, which comprises of Kenya shillings 57,001,950. Balance carried forward for the financial year 2023-2024 and Kenya shillings 23,282,721 pending transferred for the month of July financial year 2024-2025. Another recommendation is that the county treasury has approved a transfer of 26,802,200 to the county assembly to be paid immediately upon clearance by the controller of budget, that's the COB. The payment amounts for the balance of Kenya shillings 23,282,721 pending transfers for the assembly out of the July 2024 equitable share and Kenya shillings 3,519,479 payment of the outstanding amount carried forward from the last financial year. Another observation was that the net balance of Kenya shillings 53,482,171 outstanding amount carried forward from the last financial year will be compensated through a monthly top-up of Kenya shillings 6,333,550 above every monthly exchequer disbursement to the county assembly for the next 9 months starting October 2024. 5, the county treasury has contravened the provisions of section 141 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which bestows on it the responsibility to monitor, evaluate, and oversee the management of public finances, including coordination of the physical transfers to the county assembly. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, these were the recommendations made by the committee. Number 1, adoption of the payment formula. This House resolved to adopt the payment formula agreed upon between the committee and the county treasury for the settlements for the settlement of Kenya shillings 53,482,471. Outstanding balance carried forward from the previous financial year. The formula proposes that the outstanding amount be cleared through a monthly top-up of Kenya shillings 6,333,550, added to the County Assembly's monthly exchequer disbursement for the next 9 months, starting October 2024. The House to monitor the implementation of this arrangement. Number 2, this is now the strict adherence to Public Finance Management Act 2012. The County Treasury to strictly comply with the Section 104 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and other relevant legal frameworks by ensuring proper management and administration of the public funds and effective coordination of fiscal transfers from the county treasury to other county entities as required. Number 3, this is advocacy for the County Assembly's financial autonomy. The Honorable Speaker, through the County Assembly's forum, that is CAF, to lead efforts towards declaring full financial autonomy for these county assemblies, including authorization for the direct receipt of exchequer allocations from the National Treasury into a separate fund account aimed at reducing fiscal inefficiencies for proper control and management of financial resources. Number 4, this is monthly reporting of fiscal transfers. That the clerk of the Assembly to submit monthly reconciliation reports to this Honorable House detailing the status of transfers to the County Assembly to promptly monitor compliance with the schedule of transfers and adherence to the payment arrangements throughout the financial year. Honorable members, if you are very keen, at the time we are preparing this report, the payment was not done yet, but as I speak now, we have received 26 million. Let me just confirm. We have received 26,802,200 from the county treasury. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, I hereby urge the honorable members to adopt this report with the recommendations contained herein. May I call upon Honorable Lumumba Wade to second. Thank you.
Honorable Lumumba Wade. Honorable members, now that the Finance and ICT Committee presented a report on a matter raised by Honorable Nereo Kombo regarding delayed or incomplete disbursement of budgetary funds to the County Assembly. That has been seconded. As per our standing order, I want to propose a question. And I propose that the report is open for debate. Honorable Sami Onyango.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to comment about the report, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've seen the recommendation of the committee. Number one, the House resolved to adopt the payment formula agreed upon. Where is the agreement? Mr. Speaker, you know we are dealing with people who don't even own a court. The other day we saw those who are working at the treasury running away from the court. So now we are here adopting a report that they have agreed on gentleman agreement, Mr. Speaker. It would have been better, Mr. Speaker, if we could have a written agreement, Mr. Speaker, that can bind them. So to me, I think it was not even necessary to raise this kind of statement, this kind of report, because the report is shoddy. There's no direction. Even the response from the Treasury shoddy. Like they have not even said why they didn't remit our money, Mr. Speaker, because according to them, they had received the full amount from the exchequer, but they didn't explain to the committee, because I can't see it anywhere, Mr. Speaker, why they fail to remit our money, the 57 million, Mr. Speaker. Even this agreement of 9 months of 6 million, where are they going to get that money? From which budget? Because we are talking about the budget of 2023-2024. So they have said that going to pay 6 million for 9 months. From which budget, Mr. Speaker? So I think we can decide to reject the report. You just do gentleman agreement with the executive the way you always do, and they do the way they do. So they think that the only report here that I can support, Mr. Speaker, is if the assembly can get their autonomy. That's the only keyword. So this number 3, the advocacy for county assembly financial autonomy through CAF, that one I support, Mr. Speaker. That's the only way. But this agreement, this one, that one can only happen in another county, but not Kisumu. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Regina Kizito.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to note the following issues arising from the report. I went through it. And Honorable Speaker, from the committee report in its submission in page 7, the committee has reported that the county treasury informed them that there were late exchequer releases as reason for the delayed county assembly disbursements. Mr. Speaker, I rushed through the report to find whether the committee made any attempt at making further inquiry on this submission, county treasury, but I have seen none. I want to submit that the committee ought to have inquired further on the exact dates on the county treasury, on the exact dates the county treasury received these funds, in order to find whether the county assembly received its required funds in or during the dates. Without these dates, then, Mr. Speaker, it is not possible for this honorable house to be moved to agree that indeed the reason for the county assembly's delayed disbursement, it is due to the late exchequer releases. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, the committee has not provided in its report the county assembly's disbursement receipts so that this honorable house can appreciate the trend in disbursement by the county treasury. I would like to beseech the committee that if it's called upon to make an inquiry, it should take its time to do a proper investigation and not merely forward a communication from the executive to this honorable house without careful scrutiny, Mr. Speaker. I also want to focus mainly on the committee recommendations. In the recommendation number 1 of this report, the committee has recommended that this house will monitor the implementation of the monthly 6 million top-up, but it has not informed this house the mechanisms by which this honorable house would need to do that monitoring, Mr. Speaker. It would benefit this house for the committee to make a complete recommendation as to what needs to be done and the actionable. As it is, the committee seems to be throwing back a mandate that is already accorded to it in the standing orders to this Honorable House without stating why it is doing so, Mr. Speaker. In recommendation number 3, I also wish to note that whereas the need for advocacy of financial autonomy is a welcome idea, it seems to have been lost on the committee that already there is a work in progress at the Senate where the Honorable Kathuri Murungi had already proposed the County Public Finance Laws Amendment Bill 2023, a bill which was consequently introduced at the Senate on November 14th, and the same had been read a first time, Mr. Speaker. It is my submission that as evidence of proper investigation, the committee ought to have informed this Honorable House the stage in which the legislation at the Senate is, so that this House is moved to lobby with CAF. Then it does so based on the right information, Mr. Speaker. On recommendation number 4, requiring the clerk to do monthly fiscal reporting, it is my submission that this Honorable House need to ask the committee whether this is tenable in light of elaborate fiscal reporting procedures provided for by the Public Finance Management Acts and its regulations, Mr. Speaker, 2016, requiring quarterly reporting by the clerk. Mr. Speaker, it is my submission that the recommendation number 4, while aimed at improving checks and balances on the subject matter of this inquiry, is a temptation to amend the procedures provided for by the PFM Act 2013, an endeavor which is obviously beyond the constitutional jurisdiction of this Honorable House. Again, Honorable Speaker, this is indicative of the poor research that was done by the committee, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also wish to note that I wish we could be bringing reports in the House, like the one yesterday we had from the Committee of Health. It was a good report that was worth supporting. Mr. Speaker, I don't support this report. Thank you.
Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on the subject matter before the House today, without going around, we will not get a solution, but I want to support the report with amendment that they proposed 6 million to be spread for 9 months. I want to propose that we increase it to 15 million so that it can go for 3 months. Honorable Speaker, I really want to propose that amendment, and I also want to say that the report before the House, if approved, it is binding between the Assembly and the Executive. And I would like to ask now that I've proposed an amendment, if you allow me to ask Honorable Shelley to second the amendment. Thank you.
Standing orders, the majority leader has proposed an amendment to the report. That is on point number. Majority leader, come again. It's which point? The point on proposal to submit to the House a figure of 6 million
for 9 months.
I'm trying to get the exact figure so that I'm unanswered. Yes, honorable members, the leader of majority has proposed an amendment to the report. If you look at the observations, both the observations and the recommendations by the committee, especially page 9 of the report, that a figure of 6,333,550 be submitted to the County Assembly monthly for 9 months, and he has proposed 3 months instead of 9 months. and as requested Honorable Chele to second. Honorable Chele.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the proposal that we amend the report by replacing 9 months with 3 months and Kenya shillings 6 million with 15 million. Mr. Speaker, I think the money owed to this assembly by the executive is money which is intended to be spent and was supposed to have been spent a long time ago. By giving a period, spreading it to a period of 9 months, Mr. Speaker, then certain aspects of deliveries in this assembly will suffer. So I think because we are one county and we have to be lenient enough, because we will have demanded all the remaining money to be dispersed once. But in the spirit of working together and the spirit of family, Mr. Speaker, it is not bad if they spread it to a maximum period of 3 months so that service delivery by the assembly is not hindered. Mr. Speaker, I second.
Proceed. Honorable Leader of Majority, the figure in question is 53,482,471. If you work it out with 3 months, it's come to 17,827 and not 15 million. Is that what you meant?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, the Leader of Majority has proposed an amendment to the report under the section on committee recommendations that the pending figure of 53,482,471 be remitted to the County Assembly through a monthly top-up of Kenya shillings 17,827,490,000 for a period of 3 months through the Exchequer disbursement starting the month of October 2024. That having been proposed and seconded, as per our standing order, I propose that that proposed amendment is open for debate. Honorable members, when there's an amendment, we will give time for debate on that amendment. I will put a question on the amendment for it to form part of the report before we resume back to the debate on the original document. Honorable Maurice Ngeta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise on the proposed amendment, Mr. Speaker, by the majority leader, seconded by my brother and neighbor, Honorable Moses Ochele, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, so long as we are still depending under executive treasury, we need to be very careful. And I want to thank Mr. Majority Leader for that idea, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the amount that is meant for the assembly, county assembly, Mr. Speaker, is not retention money, Mr. Speaker. There's no way that the executive can withhold our money, Mr. Speaker, because it's not a retention money, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, they ought to give us our money once they've received the total disbursement from the Exchequer, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I support the proposal, and I want to urge members to support this proposal so that we can get our monies in 3 months, so that we can clear our debt and our pending bills in our assembly, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, I want to ask members and colleagues so that we can support the proposal to be done, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Millicent Omuya.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for contributing on the issue of amendment. Basically, when you look at how things are happening, from the report, this one is money that was supposed to be paid in July. Now we are in November. When I look on how we are receiving and we are very comfortable with what we are being given, definitely somebody from somewhere or even from the executive is seeing assembly as if we have enough that can keep us. Maybe we over budgeted, we don't need that money. Because if at all we were supposed to get that money by July, and now we are in November, and it is not that they did not receive the money. They received the money, and now they did not give the assembly their share. Now they are waiting for money beyond July. In fact, I know that they are waiting for maybe it is a September or October, showing that our money came, but we were never given. Well, we can agree to work with them because we are sisters. It's the same government. But I would wish that let us not allow executive to take us for a ride. In case money comes, let's have a mechanism or an agreement that suppose the county receives the allocation by 1st, maybe by 3rd or 4th or 5th, and it must be in agreement, we get our share, and it should not go beyond that. The idea of reducing the months for getting our arrears, it's good we've reduced it, but it will be important we get our money at the right time so that we can also appear to be serious. Or else, we might not need that money. Spreading that money for 9 months does not make sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on amended, Mr. Speaker, on amended report, Mr. Speaker, I'm still worried that even on the one of 6 million, there was no agreement. So this one of 17, 15. Mr. Speaker, we are supporting something which is opaque, something that you can't see.
Whom do you want to inform?
By and large, I would like to inform the House on the subject matter of amendment and withholding our money. Mr. Speaker, I think we are legislatures and we are quite aware of our role and the meaning of members debating and passing resolutions in this House. Once a document has been brought to this House and members debate on it and a vote is moved, Mr. Speaker, there is no better agreement as that, because we were not in a court of law, we were not in Chief Barasa to sign agreements. The most binding document is a document from this House. So I think if we want that agreement to be fruitful, then we must support this document with amendment so that it becomes a binding document from the Assembly. Any law we make, we don't sign agreements in the cattle shed. We sign agreement by ourselves, by debating and passing reports in this House. And that is what has been binding between the executive and the Assembly. And that is more binding even in the county at large, Mr. Speaker. So for us to talk of agreement, the agreement is now, it is here with us. Let's pass it and let the executive be bound by the resolution of this House today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Sami.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the member was informing himself. So let me proceed. Mr. Speaker, this House of Records and this House of Rules, Mr. Speaker. I think now this is my second year, Mr. Speaker, and I've seen how the reports are being presented, the way it's being presented, Mr. Speaker, with the recommendation, with the supporting document, Mr. Speaker. So I think this one is unique, and I think it's unique, Mr. Speaker, to executive bonsas that they protect everything, Mr. Speaker, to an extent like supporting, Mr. Speaker, a document without even a binding. Mr. Speaker, there's no binding between we can assume that the committee just sat somewhere, they decided that to write a recommendation and adoption, Mr. Speaker. There's nothing that is binding that we can believe in. So we are talking, Mr. Speaker, members are talking as if the executive is doing for us favor for giving us this money. This money is belong to assembly, Mr. Speaker. So I still have, Mr. Speaker, I still have observation that we are debating on a report which is opaque, something that we can't see. Maybe others know it, Mr. Speaker. So in anything, whether it is amended, whether it is not amended, Mr. Speaker, I reject this thing in totality.
I want to remind members that we are debating on the proposed amendment that has been moved by the Honorable Leader of Majority on the recommendation number 1 on page 9 of the committee report by recommending that the formula proposed for outstanding amount to be cleared through a monthly top-up be of Kenya shillings 17,827,490 added to the County Assembly monthly exchequer disbursement for the next 3 months instead of 9 months from the month of October 2024. So I want to request that we subject ourselves to that debate of amendment. And I will put a question on whether it's adopted or not. If it is adopted, it will form part of the report. If it is not adopted, we will continue debating the report the way it is. So I hope you are guided. I had seen a number of members up. Honorable Benny Peter Iko.
Mr. Speaker, on this matter of amendment, it sounds good, but how powerful is it? Let us be people who are well informed. Now what is going on in Kenya, the University Union and the Minister of Education and the government, the lecturers were duped. The lecturers were duped. When the Committee of Education was asking them, give us the evidence of what you agreed on, the 4.3 billion. There is no compelling document. And that is what the Committee of Finance is presenting to us here, and the majority is making an amendment, and we are expected to endorse. Members, see how we are being taken for a ride. And a member comes up to say that what we discuss here becomes a law. Where is it on earth that what we discuss here becomes a law? When a bill is brought here, we discuss it to become an act. Where's the evidence of what we are discussing? It's not there. So we are amending our own things. The finance department has thrown us into the ditch. And Mr. Speaker, this is why the DS was persuaded to bring this statement. Because someone realized some things were not adding up. So members, this is a time to reject this report and take a serious warning to the Treasury that we should not be taken for a ride.
Honorable Lumumba Owade.
Thank you, Mr.
Benny,
Speaker.
switch off your microphone. Benny Peter.
Mr. Speaker, the Finance Committee, of which I'm a member, presented a report which has been articulated by the chair. The role of that committee is to present you the observations and recommendations. It is this House that is mandated to either adopt, amend, or reject. But bearing in mind that if we reject this report, or even 6 months we are talking about, or 9 months, then we'll remain with zero. It would be prudent enough.
Honorable Lumumba Owade, I want us to subject our debate on the proposed
Mr. Speaker,
amendment
that is why I'm coming to.
so that we don't eat into the time for debating the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally say if the House feels that there is an amendment, then let us do an amendment to the report as opposed to rejecting the report. Thank you.
Honorable Were, amendment,
Yes,
proceed.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to add my voice on the proposed amendment. Mr. Speaker, considering that Assembly has got bills to pay, Mr. Speaker, we have got suppliers who are supposed to be paid promptly. We have got members of staff who needs to be paid promptly. We have got members of county assembly who needs to be paid promptly. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore in order that we compel the executive to release our money timely. Mr. Speaker, it is quite absurd that our money is received by the executive and not released to the county assembly. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore in order for us to amend this report so that we can compel them, so that instead of spreading this within 9 months, we compel them to submit this, to remit this money within 3 months, so that Assembly can also be on the move, Assembly can pay the bills, so that we can have trouble with the service providers to the county assembly. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I support the amendment.
Honorable Warindu, is there any member? I think Warindu should be the last person. Then we give the Honorable Leader, Majority Leader, to reply, so that I put a question. Honorable Bill, I'm seeing your hand, so you are after Warindu. Warindu, proceed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I'll restrict myself to the amendment because I want to believe that there are so many recommendations there which we are still going to debate on, and I want to believe that Majority Leader has been lenient enough to the executive by proposing an amendment of 17 million in 3 months. Initially, it was 6 million for 9 months. And I'll echo what my colleague Honorable Were has said. We have so many things that we still need to do. So we can't just sit and wait for all the 9 months so that we can be able to receive the money from the executive. And in that case, let me also join the members that are supporting the amendment of the Majority Leader. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the amendment that the Majority Leader has suggested, I want to support the idea that we reduce the months. But, Mr. Speaker, I also want to believe the amount is so small that if you look at the delay that has been there, the few months, we have been lenient enough with the executive. And if it is possible, we can even have that payment done in one installment, Mr. Speaker. So I don't know the procedure, if we can amend the amendment so that we do that in one payment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I noticed, Honorable Regina, Honorable Bill, you know, yours is overtaken by event. You can amend the amendment, but I didn't get any seconder. So, Honorable Regina Kizito, proceed.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, on the proposed amendment by Honorable Majority, in as much as I want to support the proposed amendment, but again, Honorable Bill has touched on something, that this money can even be paid within 1 month, not even necessarily the 3 months that Honorable Majority has proposed. And another thing, Mr. Speaker, are we going to see a conspicuous difference this time round? That is our worry as members. Or are we still going to play the Playboy drama game with the executive, where the boy here is the executive playing drama game with the assembly? Mr. Speaker, kindly put that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the members that are supporting my proposed amendment, but I also want to make this remark that as an assembly, all assemblies receive our funds through the executive from the National Treasury, which is always a big setback to our day-to-day running of the assembly. Until the day that will be given financial autonomy by the national government, we will still face the same problem. But I want to thank Honorable Majority Leader in the Senate, Honorable Aaron Cheriot. I think in his remark in his last statement on the bill, he said that they are going to do everything possible to make sure that by the end of this year, the assemblies will have their financial autonomy. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I reply. Thank you.
Honorable members, in the motion adoption of the report of the Finance and ICT Committee on a matter raised by Honorable Nareo regarding delayed or incomplete disbursement of the budgetary funds to the County Assembly, the Leader of Majority had proposed an amendment to the recommendation by the committee on the Amendment 1, that's adoption of the payment formula, which was presented as a formula proposing that the outstanding amount be cleared through a monthly top-up of 6,333,550,000 added to the County Assembly monthly exchequer disbursement for the next 9 months, starting October 2024, by replacing the said statement to read as follows: that the formula proposes the outstanding amount be cleared through a monthly top-up of Kenya shillings 17,827,490 added to the County Assembly's monthly exchequer disbursement for the next 3 months, starting the month of October. This has been seconded and debated, and as per our standing orders, I want to put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion that the recommendation by the Leader of Majority on the recommendation by the Finance and ICT report on the matter raised by Honorable Narea Okombo regarding the delayed or incomplete disbursement of the budgetary funds to the County Assembly. Recommendation number 1 be a change to read: the formula proposes that the outstanding amount be cleared through a monthly top-up of Kenya shillings 17,827,490 added to the County Assembly's monthly exchequer disbursement for the next 3 months, starting October 2024. Be adopted, say aye. As many of the contrary opinions say nay, the ayes have it, and the amendment now forms part of the report. And the number 1 recommendations now reads: the House resolves to adopt the payment formula agreed upon between the committee and the County Treasury for the settlement of Kenya shillings 54,482,471 outstanding balance carried forward from the previous financial year. The formula proposes that the outstanding amount to be cleared through a monthly top-up of Kenya shillings 17,827,490 added to the County Assembly's monthly exchequer disbursement for the next 3 months, starting October 2024, and the House to monitor the implementation of these arrangements. So anytime you are debating, please take care of that amendment. So we resume back to the debate of the report, now with the said amendment. Yes, Honorable Benny Pete.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. We now go back to our mini report. Mr. Speaker, this report, there are some matters which also need to be addressed by the members to see how authentic this report is. On page 6, we are told that the total allocation for the Assembly for the financial year 2023-2024 was 975 million 975 million. This is this 811 or 5 and 910, Mr. Speaker. And then out of this 975 million, Mr. Speaker, we are being told that the Assembly was given about 835 million, giving a difference. Yeah, let me go to the Annex 1. Annex 1 is very clear. The allocation for the Assembly for 2023-2024 was 975,311,910. And by the end of the financial year, the Assembly was given 835,330,890, leaving a deficit of 139,981,020. And Mr. Speaker, the outcry here is on 57,001,950. One will now ask, where is the difference? And if the total amount of 975 million is being referred to as recurrent budget, was there development budget part of this total? The difference, Mr. Speaker, is 82,979,070. This 82 million is where in this report? It is not explained where the 82 million is. On page 6, Mr. Speaker, financial year 2024-2025, we are being told a recurrent budget of 1,8,619,656 was the budget. And every month, the Assembly is supposed to get 84,051,638. The question comes, is that calculation correct? Or this 1 billion is part of development fund? Mr. Speaker, if these calculations are not correct, then we have a report that we should not adopt. Because per what I know, of the total allocation for the Assembly, there's for the recurrent expenditure and development for building the Assembly. And those ones have been captured in the last financial year and this financial year. So the record is a bit misleading, Mr. Speaker. And it will be false for us to go by this record if what is being stated here is not the real position. And Mr. Speaker, when a matter on finances is raised, it raises the eyebrow of the members. With these calculations, Mr. Speaker, and a statement you made on the floor of this House, during our Kamkunji, that you are forced to pay 10 million to KRA, because it is known in Kenya that KRA was raiding on the government institutions that have failed to pay taxes. We are interested to know how much taxes you paid. Because it is in our knowledge that taxes had not been paid for quite a long time. And now that the government is raiding on the government institutions to pay taxes, we are a victim to what extent? And that is an information that members need to abreast themselves with. So, Mr. Speaker, with the report of the 2 financial years we are addressing, I plead that members can pass if they like, but it is not a report to pass. Because once we endorse it, we shall accept what is all that is said in chapter 2. And the response of the Waziri Finance, that is Annex 1. And the question will now come, how serious we are in understanding the records brought before us. With those remarks, Mr. Speaker, I ask the Assembly, the members, to distance themselves from this report so that we go back and see how a better statement could be raised to cover everything. And another issue raised here, Mr. Speaker, it is like we are referring to two months, that is June and July, in this report. And it is common knowledge that August allocation had also been disbursed. It's only September, October that we are waiting for. So it is upon the members. The report is not adequately conclusive. Thank you.
That silence means that we can give the honorable member who moved the motion to reply. Honorable Hodari, you want to contribute?
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I just wanted to, even though Honorable Oiko has seated down, I've heard something, he has said something touching on KRA. But I've gone through this report, I've not seen anywhere written or indicated this issue of KRA, whatever, which he has talked about here. So I was thinking, it is only that I forgot my standing order in the week. So I wanted to rise up and ask if he can clarify about that. But I was afraid again.
You are on a point of order. Maybe you wanted to stand on a point of order.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm seeing Honorable Emil is there, can assist you so that you know which order you are standing on. Or the statement of facts. You want Honorable Oiko?
Yes. So can we clarify that before I proceed? Kindly.
Honorable Beni.
Yes, sir. Sir, Honorable Odari, I've made a statement and I've digressed and referred to a statement that was made by Honorable Speaker on the floor of this House. That's what I've referred to. A statement that was made by Honorable Speaker. And I've combined that with what is happening in Kenya now, that KRA is now raiding the accounts of government institutions that have not paid taxes. And he said here with his own mouth that he paid 10 million to KRA. That is a statement I've referred to.
I think if I got Robodari well, I think he was asking where the question of KRA is coming in the statement raised by Honorable Nerea. If I got him right. I've also looked at the questions. I've not seen any question on KRA. Honorable Dari, am I making your inquiry?
You are right, Honorable Speaker.
If you rule Honorable Oiko out of order, because I don't think he has addressed the concern raised by Honorable Odari appropriately. But anyway, you can continue. Honorable Odari, I think Honorable Oiko has not addressed that one. We don't have any question on KRA as per the statement raised by Honorable Nerea Okombo. And a silence means that, you want to contribute?
I want to contribute, Mr. Speaker. I think I said I will contribute. Honorable Speaker, I just want to just say 2 or 3. Mr. Speaker, as a House, I hope and I believe that we all know that we are dealing with somebody who is intellectual. And that is from the Department of Finance. Mr. Speaker, something which is impossible, it is impossible. You cannot even remove a pregnancy by coughing. So whatever we are saying here, I don't think if they will be implemented, because where I was seated, I was wondering, even though I'm not good at maths, but I've seen somewhere that they have said the committee observation that the net balance of 53,482,471 outstanding amount carried forward from the last financial year. In my opinion, I think this money, they received it and they used it and they ignored the assembly. They decided on their own not to give us our money. Mr. Speaker, recently, I think it was last week, and when Honorable Sami stood, I think you heard him, how he talked about those who went to defend CEC for finance. I was one of them. I was caught there. But it was very, very unfortunate. I later regretted. When I went back into my house, I really regretted. I asked myself so many questions. Even today we were discussing with my friend. He told me that now that the contractors has not been paid, workers within the county assembly, the staffs, both in the executive and the county assembly have not been paid. And you went to defend George. Were you normal? So I decided, I never answered that question, but I decided to keep quiet, to ignore it. But truly speaking, I've been coming to this assembly during committee meetings. Sometimes I normally come, and I've seen the committee, not committee, the CEC Finance Department and his team, the way they have been answering questions here. And I'm not afraid to report to you that Mr. George, he will talk so many English that will confuse everybody in the assembly, including the committees. Very smart guy. And now, he has decided again to come to act on us. And all these problems that we are facing as honorable members, I don't blame the executive, but I'm blaming the members of this county assembly, including the leaders of this assembly. Because most of the leaders in this assembly, they are good at what is known as tittle-tattling. People are talking here, discussing something which can assist us. In the next 2 minutes or 5 minutes, they are on the other side discussing the same thing which has been discussed here, which is not good. So, Mr. Speaker, on my side, I will not support this statement or support, but I've submitted. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Karen, can you reply?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank all the honorable members who stood up to debate in support of this motion. Honorable Sami asked where the argument is. But I want to inform him that when any motion is brought before this honorable house, it is debated upon and a question raised and the motion is adopted, then it becomes a law. And I want to remind him that this honorable house is like a court. So that's why Honorable Nerea, the Deputy Speaker, sought the statement so that it can come here. Honorable members to debate upon it, and then it is put down in written form, not just something which is said verbally. As always, when our leadership go there to negotiate about the allocation which we are supposed to be given, and they are told...
Mr. Speaker. Point of order. Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, there's no quorum.
No, Mr. Speaker, you see, we started debating over this issue long time ago. Now, if the honorable member can interrupt the mover when she is replying that there is no quorum, where was he by that time? Secondly, I think he has forgotten. He would have told us that whoever raised the statement has come now after the meeting, after we have concluded the debate. That is what he is supposed to talk about. And it also, Mr. Speaker, it is quite unfortunate that whoever brought the statement no, I was just telling you to sit down so that you give time to Madam to continue by responding.
Honorable Karen, can you proceed?
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether it is in order for any members.
Honorable Daddy, take your seat, Mr. Speaker, because for me, you are the Speaker. The one is ordering me to sit down.
Honorable,
is it in order?
Honorable Sami, you know the rules of the House. You can't just stand and start speaking. I have directed that Honorable Karen to proceed in giving the reply.
Thank you.
I request that we hear her in silence.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether it is in order for any member to stand to interfere when somebody is replying. I have not seen that since I joined this Honorable House, but I'll proceed. Honorable Sami again was asking where the county treasury will get the money that they will transfer, whatever they owe us. That is not our problem. If you owe somebody money, your work is to pay it back. And therefore, we expect them to give us what belongs to us. Honorable Regina commented on the response number 1 that the late exchequer release is the main reason why 57 million was not transferred to the county assembly. We as a committee, we are also not convinced because this 57 million ought to have been transferred in the last financial year. And the county treasury received all the cash from the exchequer. So they are just playing with our mind. And then Honorable Regina was wondering, and she didn't see anything in the report, the total amount which we were supposed to receive and the total amount we received. But I think it is in the report. The 900 and something million and the 8 which we received. So I think you didn't check well, but it is there. You mentioned it. She was also worried that for the recommendation, the last one, under number 4, under monthly reporting of physical transfers. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, we have our House committee and we meet every Thursday. Our clerk can use that forum to report to us whether the county treasury has complied, so that we may know if whatever we passed as members of this house is being abided to. Concerning the autonomy, I was informed by Honorable Regina that I ought to have not talked about it. But I think we are in the right track because it was moved in the Senate, and if we urge our speaker to also be a follow-up by CAF, there's no problem with that because we can still pursue it in both sectors. I want to thank the majority leader for proposing amendment, which was seconded by Honorable Ochele. Now, instead of 6 million, we expect to be given 15 million, and it will be spread within 17 million, and it will be spread for 3 months. I also agree, and I'm in support of that. Thank you so much. To Honorable Oiko, he mentioned something concerning taxes. He wanted to know total amount paid, but I don't think that is part of this report. Let us strict ourselves to the statement sought by Honorable Nereo Kombo. So I'll not answer that, and you don't expect Honorable Speaker to answer you that while it's stated there. Maybe you can see him in his office privately. Honorable Rodari, you see all these challenges we face as assembly is experienced everywhere. And that's the main reason why the senator moved the motion. It is not only in Kisumu County. And every motion brought on this floor of the House, not all the motions brought here has to be rejected. We can pass a motion with amendments. That is why a statement or anything is committed to a committee, and then it is brought before this honorable House to debate upon it. Any amendment can be done. Any member who feels that something was not done right can say what she or he feels should be done. And that's the right way to move. Not that if one part of a motion you see is not correct, then you reject that motion. No. That's why we are here, to legislate and to debate about what is brought before us and put it in the right way. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, I raise my case and I reply.
Honorable members, now that the motion, adoption of a report of the Finance and ICT Committee on a matter raised by Honorable Nerea Okombo regarding delayed and incomplete disbursement of budgetary funds to the County Assembly was moved, seconded, amendment made to it. which was adopted. I want to now, as per our standing order, put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion that the motion, adoption of the report of Finance and ICT Committee on a matter raised by Honorable Nerea Okombo regarding delayed or complete disbursement of budgetary funds to the County Assembly, with the amendments therein be adopted, say aye. As many of the contrary opinions say nay. The ayes have it. And the motion adoption of the report of Finance and ICT Committee on a matter raised by Honorable Nerea Okombo regarding delayed or incomplete disbursement of budgetary funds to the County Assembly, with the amendments therein, have been adopted today, Wednesday, the 6th of November, 2024, at 16:06 hours. And I want to direct that the recommendation of the said report be communicated to the relevant department for action. And the implementing committee to take up the matter and follow up on the same as appropriate. Next order.
Mr. Speaker and honorable members, there is no any other business in the order paper.
Honorable members, we can be upstanding. There being no any other business in the order paper, the House stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, the 7th of November, 2024, at 2:30 p.m.